Welcome. I'm Juan P Lluria, president of Lluria Fine Arts Services LLC, appraisers, brokers, advisors for collectors and estates and other such entities that seek advice and evaluations on works of art and antiques, and we also broker works of art and antiques for clients. Today I want to discuss a particular enthusiasm I've always enjoyed for many, many years, thanks to my early visits to a wonderful museum locally known as Grisaille, where I first got exposed to the exciting collecting field and area of study of French wallpapers from the late 18th into the early 19th century. And in the early 19th century, there was a golden age of wallpaper as a great art in what were called panoramic or scenic wallpapers. And I was thrilled when a client brought to my attention a screen, which we're going to see presently, and the screen was a lovely Grisaille 3-panel screen made of wallpaper, which, thanks to a well-stocked reference library, I was able to identify in 2 books I highly recommend. One of them is Wallpaper by Carole Thibault-Pomerance, who is the premier dealer of period wallpaper from the 18th to the 20th century in the world. And actually it was Madame Thibault-Pomerance who called to my attention the fact that this screen, when she was able to see it, that this screen was in fact in her book. And I'll show you the picture in a moment. The other one I want to show you, however, is this one in which the screen was documented. And this was a book called French Scenic Wallpaper, 1795 to 1865. And this book is outstanding. This book documents all the great wallpapers. So thanks to a little help from valued colleagues who have great knowledge, which are very generous in sharing with me, and the fact that a well-stocked library, which is essential for any serious appraiser, I was able to identify this exciting wallpaper when it was brought to me. And I want to take you to see it now. Come with me. And here we have the screen in front of us. It is produced by Joseph Dufour, who was the principal wallpaper manufacturer in Paris under the Empire, during the time of Napoleon, and in the subsequent Restauration period. This was produced in 1818, and it was entitled Les Fêtes de la Grèce et les Jeux Olympiques, meaning Greek festivals and Olympic Games. And as you can see, there's this continuing band of a colonnade with suitably draped classical spectators looking underneath at this wonderful race course going on with horses and chariots, and in the foreground is a lovely languid reclining beauty in her drapery with her 2 children, and here you have the contestants in the race, and above, of course, the lovely trees and the foliage. At the end here you see a lovely column under which is seated an old sage and other spectators. Now this, of course, was a much larger panoramic wallpaper series. This is just 3 vertical sections of it. But it was, of course, produced to be used in different variations, and it was not unusual to make folding screens out of them. The wallpaper decorative band with an egg and dart motif in beautiful gold tones and black is particularly noteworthy too. You will notice the wallpaper has condition issues, which is not unusual. Some people just leave them as they are and enjoy the rather romantic patina, and some people can make the expenditure of having them expertly restored. But if you do, make sure you have them restored by a true expert who salvages as much of the original material as possible. This beautiful, evocative 3-panel screen made of Joseph Dufour wallpaper was definitely exciting enough to oblige me to go look at the books in my library, which I mentioned earlier, and happily, as you're going to see, they were documented in the books. I hope you'll agree that was an exciting discovery. I was thrilled when the client brought it to my attention and was kind enough to share it. I want to show you where it is in the Carole Thibault-Pomerance book. It's on page 236 and 237. She kindly pointed it to my attention. And a better conserved example is seen here in the back area of her book, where she shows potential collectors of wallpaper who take an interest how it can be used as a wonderful alternative to, say, just a painting on the wall. And for those people who can't afford these seven-figure contemporary paintings that you see at art fairs, which make no sense to people who happen to like historical periods a little bit more. This is a wonderful and infinitely more affordable art form to hang on your wall and have a big, bold object instead of cluttering it with insignificant little pictures. This series was presented to the public in 1818 by Joseph Dufour. And Joseph Dufour, as I said earlier when I was showing you the screen, was the pretty much principal wallpaper maker in Paris under Napoleon and just after in the Restauration period, when this wallpaper was technically produced in 1818, right after the fall of the Empire. And here I'm going to show you a wonderful example in the second book I discussed, French Scenic Wallpapers, of the wallpaper in its entirety documented in the back, where all the scenic wallpapers are documented. And here I'll show you with a little laser light. Bear with me, this is being handheld here. You'll see the area of the screen we just saw that begins here and pretty much ends there. This area here, the three panels that we just saw, are documented in this book. So I think it's very exciting when you find something that you have documented in a book. I think you'll agree that's always a great thrill. So thank you for joining me on this discovery, and I thank the anonymous client who kindly allowed me to share the screen with you. And if you ever see in any small auction house or any antique shop you go visiting on the road, interesting examples of early French wallpaper, even a small fragment that's in a frame, don't discard it as something insignificant. These are usually gorgeous works of art with beautiful colors and beautiful subjects, and deserve to be collected as works of art in their own right. Thank you very much for sharing your time with me, and if you have any questions, you can always find me on www.luriafinearts.com. Thank you.